Okay, so we're going to start this spaceship. I just looked around. This is probably it was in the first 10 to 20 results that came up. Um, so I'll just move this over a little bit. We're going to start with a box, and I'm just going to go ahead and make a box about like this. I want it fairly narrow, and we'll just bring it up about like that. And let's go ahead and give it some color, just cause. And we'll go ahead and we'll go up here and turn on. I usually just do it with a key command, but I wanted to show you where it's at. I don't even seen it, so I am going to do it with a key command. So F4 is edge faces. There it was, way down there. And I want edge faces because I want to see this. So this one doesn't need to have edge faces. So we'll just take the edges off that one so it doesn't show up. All right, so we got this. And what I'm just focusing on is the central portion right here. So I'm going to pretend it has no wings at all. And I'm just going to model just this piece. So if I wanted to, and I've already converted it to a box. Well, no, I haven't. So let's go with length steps. Let's do like maybe 4. God, it's hard to freaking type. It's hard to slide that slider and get what you want. I want to have a center line, so I'll just say width 2, and let's do 1 for height. So something like that. So I'm pretty much thinking about like this thing coming off of here. So what I want to do, so I'm trying to think of how I want it to wrap around. And what I think I'm going to do is just, I'm going to go to polygons. Oh, I got to convert, sorry. And I've been doing Maya stuff all day long. Like, I haven't been working in Maya, but for some reason, today I've got a bad case of the Maya, so I keep doing Maya key commands and Maya weird things all day long. I don't know why. So what I'm going to do is just push this back, and yeah, just go back like that. So whoops. So I want to make sure I only got that one axis. And let's take the bottom. I just want the bottom of this thing, and maybe I want to go a little bit wider with it. So scale this just on that axis, and we can grab this edge. So right here. And we'll go a little bit wider with that. And I want to eventually make the top, this part, out of here. So I'm going to take this, just double click it, and move it back a little bit, like maybe here, and maybe the rest of that will move back further. It's hard to see, like when you're doing something 3/4, it's not ideal, but I just wanted to show you how I would approach this if I was working from something like this. So you got to see, look at like how narrow this is, and look, I probably want to take these 4 polygons, and we're just going to squeeze them together, something like that, and you know, it'll wrap around here, and it's going to be fine. And I'm looking at, it's kind of hard to see. I think I'm just going to take this and just rotate it so I can see it easier with what I'm doing. And I'm just going to go ahead and bring it up like that. So when I'm looking at this, and I'm just going to hit G to get rid of this grid because I don't really need it right now. So this is straight to the world. That is not. So I'm just going to grab these bottom ones and just pull them out like that. Looks like they're coming out a little bit. We can change it later if we want to. And I think that's good for now. So what I want to do is work on this thing. So this cockpit looks like when I'm looking at this portion right here, it looks straight across. When I'm up here, it looks rounded. This whole thing does look rounded though, even though it's coming into a flat section. So maybe what I'll do is just grab this top piece like this and just pull it back like that. It's going to give me two faces, but that's fine. You can see where these are split. What I want to do is maybe grab all of this. So if I did something like that, got either side, I can do an inset. So if I right click and say inset, I can just bring that down a little bit. And what that's going to give me is a couple things. It gives me this line that I can build up, you know, and I'm just going to work on the one side mostly. So I could pull that up a little bit. Let's take this and I'm going to split it. So I'll just say ring and connect like so. And for right now, I'll just keep that right where it's at. I wanted to give this a little bit of shape. Let's just go ahead and move that back. So I'll just bring this up. So this has, it doesn't have quite that much, but I'm just gonna fake it, move it up. Maybe this whole thing moves down a little bit, and maybe this whole thing moves back a little bit. So I'm just making adjustments to it as I go. Alright, so I'm seeing this, even though it's like a wing the way it is, and it looks like it's like an air pocket, I'm seeing it as kind of an engine thing that goes back and, you know, air could go through there, even if it's going through some kind of turbine. So I'm not too worried about that yet. And I've kind of made this so that I could, this top portion, so that that could become like the bottom, the front part of the wing. So right here. So that's what I was thinking about with that. And this part, I'm going to move that forward just a tad. And let's move this maybe down a little bit. And take this one, just move it forward just a tad. Not a lot. Maybe even down a little bit would be fine. So something like that. This piece here in the front, I really don't know what's going on the bottom. So what I want to do is, and you can see where stuff is getting kind of already different from side to side. I don't really care about the far side. I'm only really modeling one side. And I'm modeling, right now I want to do something with this bottom. And I'm not too concerned about the back of the model because I can't see the details, so I'm just going to be able to make it up. So right now, if I get all this, I'm going to right click and say inset. So as I start to inset that, I can do something like that. And then I'm going to right click and say extrude, and I'll get the dialog box. I'm going to go with local normal, and I'm going to go with a negative number. So as I pull this in, I'm going to get something about like that. And it does sometimes start to get weird on you. It's kind of pulling this in a weird way. I'm going to, well, dang it. Sometimes you forget to say okay. So I'm going to say okay to that. And I'm going to grab this edge right here and just move it back, something like this. So what I'm going for is just general shape. And I feel like this starts to taper down. So I'm going to do myself a favor and just grab this and pull it down, and I'll grab this whole thing and pull it back, just so I'm starting to get an idea of where it's going. And I'll grab this and pull it back, and let's let this centerpiece be taller. So I'm going to grab these edges and I'll go all the way back, make sure I got all of that, and just pull this down, and maybe this can come down a little bit like that, and a little bit like that. So let's take this and forward like that. So I'm just trying to round it out a little bit, and let's bring this down. So I'm just tweaking it. If it gets too weird and it's too lopsided, I can go to a front view if I just say F, and I can see this is kind of lopsided. I'm going to just grab that and delete it. And what I'll do now is take this, I'm going to come up here to my mirror tool, and I'm going to tell it I want an instance, and then say OK. So now when I work on this side, I'll get the other side for free. So I've got that going on. So let's maybe get, and I'm in this for about 10 minutes now, so I'm probably going to stop fairly soon, like pretty much right now. So let's move that in a little bit. And let's take, well, vertices. So move that in like this. If I'm looking at this, this is pretty short. So I want to maybe scale it in this way. And that's good. And maybe this one I'm just going to make it kind of match. So I'll scale that in that way. And this still looks like it's going down to me. Looks like it goes down. So let's take this and we'll just bring it down to where I think it needs to be. Something like that. And then we'll fix the rest of it. So let's take this and we'll move it as it needs to move. So maybe something like that. Alright, so so there's that general shape. I'm not worried about the gun yet. I'm just worried about this shape here. I might make this start to bulge out. So what I'm thinking is happening here is I'm going to take this, maybe even all the way up here, and I'm just going to extrude this out. So when I extrude it out, actually let's do it this way. I'm going to say extrude. Let's go with group. It's not making that much of a difference, so I'm just going to say OK. So what I want to do is probably take this. I'm going to get a vertice, target weld, and I'm going to weld these. So it's like that, and I'll grab this face here, whoops, one face, and I'll move it out a little bit, and I'll just take this edge right here, and I want to make that. So I want to give it kind of an S-curve shape on the base of this, like that. And I probably want to round this out a little bit eventually, but right now I'm not going to. So that's so far. And then what I'm going to do is, let's take this, and we'll go to about, well, we can go all the way up here. So I'm going to do an inset, something like that. And let's go ahead and do an extrude, and we'll go in a little bit like that. So this piece here, I'm going to go back to my vertices, and I'll grab that. Whoops, I didn't want to chamfer it. I just wanted to grab this and actually target weld. So I'm going to target weld that to here. I'm just going to hit F3 real quick so I can do that to there, and hit F3 again, come back. So I'm not really caring too much about what happens in there, because all I'm caring is I get like some kind of crease that's going on in there, and it feels like this stops a little bit shorter. So I'm going to take this one, I've still got target weld on, and I'll weld that down like this, and let's weld this one to there, I guess, like that. And let's grab this edge and we'll just move it out a little bit. Alright, so we're at 15 minutes, so that's probably enough for the first section. And when we come back, we'll start to build the wings.